Greetings, dear viewer. I hope you're having an excellent day. I know I certainly will be by the time this gets uploaded, not only because of a new classic Doctor Who review, but also one of my favourite bands, All Time Low, are releasing an album today. So if I don't reply to any of your comments straight away, it's because I'm listening to them. And it just so happens that the All Time Low shirt that I own just happens to have a one of the Ambassadors of Death printed on it. Totally. 100%. Trying my best to, coincide the two together. Regardless, hello and welcome to the Season 7 finale. Wait, really? Huh, yeah. Season 7 only has 4 serials. That just feels weird. This whole season feels weird. This is going to be an interesting one. Hey, thank you very much for tuning in to my review of Inferno, the 4th serial in the first season of the Third Doctor's run, and like I said, yeah, it's the end of his first season. And it's kind of a special one for me, because I'm fairly certain that this was my first ever Jon Pertwee story, or at the very least, it was definitely my first Third Doctor DVD, which I picked up while visiting grandparents in Wanganui in the school holidays back in 2010 or 2011. $20 for a 2-disc set. Now that was a bargain at the time. So, needless to say, I have already watched this one before, and I'll admit, I remembered most of the important stuff. Like the setup, creature design, the overall plot structure stuck with me all these years, so at the very least, I can confirm it's a memorable one, which unfortunately I can't really say for the rest of the season. Like when I try and think back at my favourite moments from the Silurians and the Ambassadors of Death, yeah, they were good, but I struggled to remember most of what was going on. But if I read my review script or just look at a part of my review, I'm like, oh yeah, no, there was a lot of good stuff there, but I just can't think of it off the top of my head. Before we get stuck in, at the time of writing this, it's the 17th of February, and I just had a good discussion with one of my regular viewers, Andrew Bowman, about why this season feels so off to me, and he confirmed that it's not just me feeling this. Not only the tone, but the whole DNA of the show was changed so suddenly that if you're binge-watching the classic series, it doesn't even feel much like Doctor Who. Now, I've said time and time again that I knew I was in for a shake-up, and that the Doctor would be stranded on Earth and working a lot with UNIT for the time being. But I didn't expect the show to almost completely ditch any classical science fiction feeling and go towards a more supernatural drama starring a geriatric James Bond. And the characterization, far out, man. The second Doctor and the Brigadier had such a good relationship, but the Third Doctor just spends all season bickering with him. It's what happens? Where did all the respect and admiration go? Anyway, I'm pleased to say that this was my personal favourite story of Season 7. 7 episodes per serial really had me struggling this season, and I'm ashamed to admit it took me 2 attempts to watch this one. I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it, and when the credits started to roll on episode 3, I realised I haven't been paying attention for the last 40 minutes. What happened in these 2 episodes? Thankfully, a couple of days later, had a bit of a rest, gave it another go, put my distracting phone away, and managed to sit through and enjoy it. What are we now, 3 or 4 minutes in, and we're finally starting to talk about the story? Okay, Inferno, revisiting one of my first and only Third Doctor adventures that I've actually seen before. Carrying on with the Season 7 tradition of not really following up from the previous serial as much as they used to, the Doctor is pretty keen to fix up his TARDIS and get the heck out of there. Oh, but unfortunately some rich tycoons gotta go and endanger the lives of numerous innocent people and inadvertently set a course that could lead to the destruction of the planet. Poor Doctor just can't catch a break. Oh, and to reference what I said last time about the new TARDIS interior, I'm about 50% sure that this is actually the Third Doctor's new TARDIS. Although, in this serial, the TARDIS console unit is just set up inside a garage, which just so happens to be located close to the nuclear power drilling operation that's going on. Convenient and confusing. So I can't really confirm whether or not that comfy looking lounge place was the Doctor's TARDIS interior or just someone's cozy living room, because when you Google image search Third Doctor's TARDIS, it shows both the living room and the traditional circle things in the background, so I don't know. I suppose and we will find out eventually. No idea how he got the console unit out of the TARDIS itself, or the logistics of that even working kind of breaks a lot of future canon, but honestly, I kind of just give up caring about those details. So, there's this singular-minded big boss guy who wants to drill through the Earth's crust to gain nuclear power, don't ask, and refuses to listen to numerous experts when they try and warn him of the impending dangers. The Doctor naturally tries to help, but with the belligerent head honcho having none of it, and the unusually confrontational Brigadier not helping matters at all, the Doctor pretty much just says, "Screw you guys, I'm going home."
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Siphoning some power from the drilling operation that's going on to recharge his TARDIS, again, no idea why those two things are close together, the Doctor is pretty keen to just gap it and abandon Liz Shaw, unit, and everything else, but wibbly wobbly timey wimey, bang! He slips on over to a parallel universe. This was incredible writing at the time, and it holds up to this day. It was an ingenious decision to have this alternate Earth be so similar to the one the Doctor came from, just with a few subtle differences. For instance, each of the main and significant side characters have their own parallel universe variations, or counterparts as the Doctor calls them. Liz is a high-ranking soldier rather than a scientist. The Brigadier is a bureaucratic leader who's more of a dick than he has been in recent episodes. Oh, and the royal family were executed some time ago, leading to a new world order of sorts, so, it's not all bad. And most importantly, the parallel universe is a few hours ahead of schedule, so the Doctor gets a nice little sneak preview of the horrors that are to come, and, what will happen if he can't return to his own time and space and put a stop to it. And despite the dated, piss-poor visual quality of a lot of the outdoor filming locations, pretty much everything about this comes together really well to provide an excellent example of what this new 70s Earth-based full-colour Doctor Who has to offer. And I gotta say, it's not really focused on, but the subtle, soul-wrenching implications of the final episode spent in the parallel universe are haunting. It's not touched on, but you know that all these characters understand that their Earth is doomed. This is the end for them. They are all going to die. And their only hope is that they can somehow send this man, this stranger, the Doctor, back to his own parallel universe and hopefully prevent it from suffering the same fate as this one. That in itself could be a massive focus in a modern-day sci-fi thriller. That heroic sacrifice that you see in action movies and war movies. That moment when a character realizes there's no way out, their time is up, but they have a chance to do some good and perhaps save someone else. That's powerful stuff. But this is classic Doctor Who after all, so that's just something you're going to have to think of for yourself and insert into the subtext while the show makes time to show off the Doctor's silly antics. I've been waiting and looking forward to this, and we finally get to see some of the Doctor's inexplicable karate moves in action. That two-finger Star Trek-esque, just finger jab movement to paralyze someone. Oh, it's brilliant. It is so ridiculous, and I freaking love it. I cannot wait for the Green Death. Oh, and this is something that I personally found funny. If you've been watching my classic Doctor Who reviews for a while now, or even just seen a couple of the big ones, you'll know that I always like to point out when a creature or an enemy is using this supposedly deadly weapon like a ray gun or something, but it's very clearly just, a costume and a fire extinguisher. Daleks, Ice Warriors, Crotons, Dominators, Yeti, they all just love letting out a little puff of, fire extinguisher mist and having people recoil and scream in fear as they collapse to the ground dead. Well, as if specifically for me, the main tool of defense that the heroes have in this story that's effective against the enemy creatures, you guessed it, it's fire extinguishers. They literally use heaps of fire extinguishers throughout Inferno, and at one point it just gets silly. The Doctor's up on this, scaffolding walkway above the drill site, right? And a creature appears in front of him, and hanging on the railing just behind him, for no reason, is one little fire extinguisher. Oh man, that is good. I needed a laugh. Classic Doctor Who. It's absurd at times, but as long as you go in expecting it and don't focus on every little detail like I sometimes do, you're more than likely to find something you enjoy about it. And I sure have. Season 7 is a weird one. And I know when the day finally comes for me to revisit classic Doctor Who again, and I rewatch Season 7 for the second time, I know that I'll enjoy it a lot more because I've already experienced that tonal shift. And yeah, I'll just be able to watch it like any other serial. As for Inferno, I liked it 10 years ago, I like it now. Yes, it's too long, but the ideas were solid, and it ended the season on a high note. And you know what? That's enough to keep me going. Thank you very much for watching. I have no idea what time I'm editing this, so hello from future me, recording this on the 28th of February, or past me, who wrote the script on the 17th of February, or present day me in March, who's probably just listening to All Time Low, or for you, dear viewer, who doesn't really care when it was uploaded and just wants to enjoy good content. The Autons are back next week, so stay tuned for them.